Hi and hello, folks. A great day to meet post the wonderful victory by India. Welcome all to the GK Sports India YouTube channel, and this is your favorite Kumbi Jiku show. Well, my good friend G. Krishnan was very much present in the venue, covering the game. So instead of me, who was sitting on television and biting my nails and watching the fantastic run chase. Opening comments all to you, Jiku. I can see all smiles. You know, truly, the 2025 World Cup has just lit up now with two fabulous semi-finals that have taken place, and well-deserved victors in both the semi-finals. So India tee off against South Africa again at the D.Y. Patil Stadium for the coveted 2025 World Cup. Opening comments, Zico, on the semi-final between India and Australia.
Thank you, Sri. Thank you very much. And yeah, it was truly a memorable evening, a memorable match, not just for me, but for some 30-odd thousand spectators who were there. And when they were left to chase the record total, 339, not many gave India the chance because it was against Australia, 7-time champions, and Australia had the most highest successful run chase in a women's ODI just in the league space against India. And for India to win, they had to just obliterate that record. And not many gave India the chance. But then you had Smriti Mandana fall cheaply. You had Shafali Verma fall early, 2 wickets down in the power play. Jemimah Rodriguez just battered with as if her life was dependent on it, and found a perfect partner in her captain. They say when the chips are down, the best rise to the occasion. Harmanpreet chose the best occasion to give it back to Australia. Though she missed out on 100, her 89 was good in terms of, was worth its weight in gold, and also was worth more than 100. And their partnership just clinched it for India, eliminating Australia. So it was a fantastic feeling, and what a better way than to dethrone, because it was in the same semi-final stage 8 years ago. India defeated Australia. Since then, they have had that glorious 15 successful run, and it had to come against the same opponent in the same stage of a World Cup tournament.
Oh, I think a couple of things we discussed. One was the law of averages catching up, and one of the reasons could be just a quick question, Jiku. Were you surprised when Australia, normally they've won all the games in this World Cup running into the semi-final chasing targets? So were you surprised, when toss went in favor of Australia and Alyssa Healy said we're going to bat first? Were you surprised, by that call from Australia?
Not at all. In fact, in our preview, I said that they had to, whoever wins the toss should be batting first, because the scoreboard pressure of chasing would be like we saw in the previous game, New Zealand versus India, just about 7 days ago at the same venue. I thought scoreboard pressure would put the other team down, but then I was happy to be proved wrong yesterday. And no, it was not surprising for me at all, because 338 was a good enough total. But then later on, as it turned out to be such a beautiful batting pitch, even 370 would have been chased down. That was how well India was always close on the heels of Australia's total at every given point of time. And in the last 10 overs, they were inching slowly ahead of Australia, that they had to win. They won comfortably with 9 deliveries to spare. We'd all talk about Jemimah Rodriguez's century and her big partnership with Harmanpreet, but the moment Harmanpreet got out, those crucial knocks, those 2 fours and 2 sixes by Richa Ghosh, the crucial contributions by Deepti Sharma and Amanjotkaur, who kept their cool. And also when Jemimah was scoring nearing her 100, they allowed her to get to her coveted mark. But then these 3 combined to score 60-odd runs in less number of deliveries. That was equally important and crucial in terms of India's victory.
Well, you were mentioning in the preview about players to watch out for, and you were pretty skeptical about one particular Australian. Maybe I have my own doubts saying that when you visited the ground the day before the game, did you have a word with Phoebe Litchfield? Because you were mentioning that, good starts to the tournament, but she's still not set the World Cup afire. What a knock by the youngster. I mean, you would have watched it in close quarters, 119 of 93 balls, 17 fours and 3 sixers. Silken touch, at times, brutal power. Though they lost Healy at the top. But I thought it was a fabulous batting performance by Australia. Excellent half centuries by the experienced Ellis Perry, and also Ash Gardner, the way she's batted in this World Cup. Yet another half century within no time, 45 balls, 63. But somewhere, at one point in time, did you feel that Australia were on course to get a score in excess of 350? Maybe their last 10 overs, they lost quick wickets,
Right.
and the breaks were applied. How was the batting spectacle of Litchfield per se, especially?
She's a very exciting prospect, a very talented batter who is even looked at as the future leader of Australia cricket across formats. And why I said Litchfield would strike in the semi-final or come good when we did the preview was because she has this love affair with Mumbai. Though it was at the Wankhede 2 years ago, they played 3 ODIs. She got 100 in the third ODI, but before that she got 250s and she was striking the ball very well. So the exciting prospect that she is, who can quickly score runs, not waste deliveries, that was something that and this being in India, she knows the conditions, and her only highest score was 82, but then before that she has not scored even a 50 in the previous matches this tournament. So something made me tell that she was going to come good, and she struck so well. The partnership with Ellis Perry, who again has not scored a 50 in the previous matches coming into the semi-final. It was a perfect combination, one striking, the other playing the supporting role. There was this phase when Ellis Perry was on 37 and Phoebe Litchfield was on 73. The next few overs, it was Litchfield who was striking in boundaries that Ellis Perry was just happy to give strike to Litchfield and enjoy her batting display. So that was how good Litchfield was. And it was a fantastic knock. But then 338, we all thought it was going to be good enough, because at the halfway stage in their innings, 25 overs or so, they were close to 200 runs. And I thought, if not to 400, at least 360, 370 would be what Australia would be getting. But then you give credit to the Indian bowlers, where they pulled things back. Even though Australia were going for runs, they were caught. That applied the brakes on Australia, and full credit to Indian bowlers, restricting them to under 340. But Litchfield, what a knock, and it needed an even more better knock to put Litchfield's knock into a shade. So that was how good Jemimah Rodrigues was later in the run chase.
Well, coming to the Indian bowling, I think the silver lining has been Sri Charani. A lot has been spoken about her, a youngster with hardly any experience behind her coming into this World Cup. I think she looked just stand out in the whole lineup. 2 for 49 in 10 overs. Were you surprised by the team selection? Yet again, Sneha Rana missing out, and they did go in with Radha Yadav, another left arm spinner. And again, one more batter who was in form. Maybe strike rate was discussed. Harleen Deol not being a part of the playing 11. And India deciding to go in again with amanjotkaur's medium pace. I mean, standby, I would say, because Renuka Thakur and Kranti Gaur did play. Were you surprised by the team selection? In the end, maybe Radha Yadav did go for plenty. But overall, the bowling card doesn't look good for both the sides. The bowlers were taken to the cleaners. Were you surprised by the Indian team selection?
I was a bit surprised not seeing Harleen Deol in the 11, but then I just resigned to the fact that India went with an additional bowler because it was such a beautiful batting track that you needed an extra bowler to contain the opposition batters. So perhaps that is why they went with the sixth bowler. But then such was the pitch that if you even had 10 bowlers bowling at the opposition, you could not have contained them. Yeah, I was a bit surprised, but then it was what it is. Maybe I was what was striking was that Harmanpreet Kaur was making so many frequent bowling changes that I couldn't make what she was doing. Maybe she was trying to get the Australian bowlers not settle against the Indian Australian batters not settle against the Indian bowlers, because it was so many frequent bowling changes, 1 over spells to the bowlers, changing ends, maybe trying to not allow them to score or get settled down to a particular set of bowlers. But then it was such a beautiful batting track that whatever you made, nothing worked for the bowlers.
Well, you mentioned, I think not many, including me, gave a chance, to India to chase down this a massive target, a world record chase. The second one, which happened in this present World Cup, the first one was when India played Australia at Visakhapatnam. Well, you already, described the run chase and the way Jemimah stitched a partnership with Harmanpreet Kaur. To me, what was striking was maybe, Deepthi Sharma walking in at number five. So India was pretty thin on batting, minus Harleen Deol, normally who batted at number three. And maybe the think tank decided that, they had to give Jemima that much of responsibility. And everyone knows what a live wire she is on the field. The way she fielded, affected a couple of runouts, a brilliant catch, and some saves on the boundary line. I mean, the team needs such a player, who can lift the morale. And last time around, when I mentioned about the master stroke when she went out to bat at number three, it was repeated, and I think it was the fifth occasion when she came out to bat at number three for India in the ODIs.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a fabulous run chase, and as you mentioned very clearly, the small cameos from Deepthi Sharma and Richa Ghosh towards the end, really clinched it for India. 9 balls to spare, 5-wicket victory. I would say a comprehensive victory. Where do you think the Australians struggled on the field to ensure that they didn't allow India to cross the line?
See, Australia, it was very surprising to see that they dropped three sitters, of course, and those Jemimah Rodriguez had a charmed life, dropped on 60 when it was a sharp edge which just flew off Healy's gloves, but then the other two when she was on 82 and 106, they were easy sitters. And one was with the gloves that Ali Sahili went for, even though the bowler Alana King also went for it in front of the wicket. But then those kind of chances, if you drop, they have dropped the World Cup. Like Steve once said to Herschel Gibbs in the 1999 World Cup. So not once, not twice, but three times. If you give Jemimah Rodriguez, who 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 was like a person possessed and wanted to make sure that she stayed till the end and saw India cross the line. Because the post-match press conference that Jemimah came and spoke about, she tried to control her tears, but she just broke down. Such was the emotion that she was going through, not just in this final, it was a draining semi-final, but what she went through the last 1 month and the way she spoke, she could not just control her tears. That she started her maiden World Cup with the first ball duck against Sri Lanka, 2 ducks in 3 innings. She was dropped against England, came back, had only 2 30s before she was promoted to number 3 against New Zealand and scored that 50. So it was so much that she was going through, and perhaps it was destined that India win, and maybe you never know, India is destined to win the final, because on the preview day, Shafali Verma, who was roped in for the injured Pratika Rawal, she came and spoke about saying that God has sent me to the semi-final to do special things. Though she fell for only 10 runs, those special things and the God came in the form of maybe Jemimah Rodriguez to see India through. It's all nice to say, nice to hear, but that is also the reality, because if you have three drops off a batter who goes on to score 100, a match-winning 100, taking the team to the final, you believe in some external forces or some positive vibes, some belief that this team is maybe going to create what MS Dhoni's men did in 2011, a home World Cup, India in the final. You never know.
Well, they say, pressure can catch up even to the best in the business. So it was, proof of the pudding which was there on offer at DY Patil's in the semi-finals. Well, you mentioned about drop chances. I think the game is all about, partly luck also, favoring you. The adage always is used, the rub of the green going your way. I think the preparation, the hard work that has gone in, the way these girls have worked, towards coming into this World Cup with some fantastic ODI victories has proved it really, much sweeter with this win against Australia. Having said that, now, two of the best sides are in the finals of the World Cup when they tee off against each other at the DY Patil. Again, it is typical home venue for India. They're going to play their fourth game, and nothing better, two of the best sides, who played exciting brand of cricket making it to the finals. So, how's the feeling, Jiku? Did you ever envisage at any point in time before the start of the World Cup or midway through the World Cup saying we all knew as to who were the top four? After the top four was decided, did you ever think that it would be a, uh, final tee off between India and South Africa?
Certainly, definitely would not have even imagined that it would be India versus South Africa final. But somewhere in the back of my mind was just thinking how nice it would be if we had a new world champion, because it's only been Australia 7 times, England 4 times, and New Zealand 1 time who have won this World Cup. So we are going to definitely have a new world champion, a fourth team lifting that coveted World Cup, India or South Africa. I still feel India have the edge because, like you said, fourth match on the trot, they are going to be playing at this same DY Patil Stadium. For South Africa, who have been all over, it will be for the first time that they will be here tasting these conditions. So it's all working in India's favor, and also the fact that India don't have to travel for matches. One station before the New Zealand match in the league phase, they are here for 10 days, and it's a welcome sign for India because they can do what they want to. There is no travel day involved. They can get a good day's rest, train, practice. It's all just they are staying close by, adjacent to the stadium. So it's all nicely working in India's favor. And if you may ask me, I will say it is India's to lose this World Cup.
Well, November 2nd, DY Patil Stadium. It can't get any bigger. World Cup 2025 finals, the host being India, they're a part of this final. Quick question, Jiku. If you want to put your money on two players from each side, whom you feel will hold the key to this finals?
We heard Jemimah Rodriguez say that though it was her best 100 so far in her career, she said she is going to reserve one more special for the finals. But then that's nice to hear. But come the occasion, Smriti Mandana will be my player to watch out for. And in the bowling, I will still see Renuka Thakur providing those early breakthroughs in the power play, and she is known to because she figures in the top five among the wicket takers in the first 10 overs in ODIs. So Renuka Thakur with the ball, Smriti Mandana with the bat, my two players to watch out for from India, and from South Africa, the two veterans, the two players who rose to the occasion against England in the semi-final. I see no reason why they cannot continue their form. Woolward has been the highest run getter for any batter in this World Cup. Century in the semi-final, and Marizan cap with those 5 wickets, giving vital breakthroughs, striking early into the England lineup. These two will be my players to watch out for from the South African ranks, and hope that South Africa would want to believe that they don't choke in this final. They are known to be chokers, but then these women have gone one step beyond what the men did. First ever World Cup final for South Africa in the 50-over format, men or women's World ODIs. They want to make it special, but then India will not let that happen.
Well, I think you've nailed it. And what do you think, would be the key for one team to come out successful in this finals? Just one word you want to describe, which would hold the key.
Like they say, the team that holds its nerves, manages those pressure situations, comes out of those pressure situations, handles pressure better, will win. So that's the key.
Fantastic, Jiko. Fabulous insights on the semi-final victory and moving forward into the grand finale on the 2nd of November at DY Patil, where, as you mentioned, there's a new World Cup winner. The team is going to be crowned. There has to be a change. They say change is constant. And we've seen seven in Australia's favor, four in England's favor, one from New Zealand. I think it shows, the dominance of the Australian and English side have been derailed in this particular tournament. And yes, as I mentioned, India stuttered in the middle, losing three games on a trot, whereas South Africa had a disastrous start to this World Cup by being bowled out for 69. The comeback they made and then meting out the same sort of treatment to England in the semi-finals at Guwahati showed the sort of belief they've had in their side and the resilience they've showed. Truly, if you look at the passage to the semi-finals and to the finals, it's been resounding victories in the semi-finals for both the sides. It's been comprehensive, and both sides have all the bases covered, and they have all their key players run into form at the right time. So, with this, we'll catch you folks once the finals is done and dusted, and a new winner is certainly on. But we hope we can have a smile on our face saying that India would be victorious. A lot has been spoken about the sort of pressure that goes on when the host country, hosts the international event like a World Cup. Thank you, Jiko. Thank you for your wonderful insights. Fingers crossed, and hope you repeat your performance. Go sit in the in press box and cover the game again and ensure India crosses the line.
Hopefully that's what will happen. Thank you very much, Sri, and wonderful always talking to you.
Thank you, viewers. We'll catch you soon.
Bye.
See you and bye bye.
Bye bye.